Right now, I got a lot of emotions right now. So, but I'm a man of my word. I want to congratulate the Cincinnati Bengals and the Bengals fan base, Dashy, A Train, all you guys, your boys. They got it done. They're going to the AFC Championship for the first time in a very long time. You guys got a really great kicker. Um, we our defense came to play. You know, we had 9 sacks on Joe Burrow. We had an interception. We did everything that we were supposed to do. And the one bad thing too is that some of the Titans receivers were dropping passes. I could tell Derrick Henry was not ready to come back like everybody thought he was going to be. Um, Me and A Train were talking throughout the show, throughout the game, and we were talking about that. And Derrick Henry looked like he was very short stepped. There were some points where he looked like he was a little bit like the old Derrick Henry, but the biggest problem I see right now on this Titans offense and this Titans team is Ryan fucking Tannehill. Now, I know that I've said the videos in the past that if you've ever followed me on Kev's Point of View and you follow me on here, you know that I have never really been that big of a fan of Ryan Tannehill or Ryan Lamehill, wherever you want to call him. The first play of the game, the Titans get the ball. 1st and 10, instead of trying to run with Foreman or instead of trying to run with Derrick Henry, what does he do? He throws the ball, boom, interception. But our defense did a really good job of keeping the Bengals only at 3 points. So kudos to Harold Landry, Jeffrey Simmons, Autry, Bud Dupree, and those boys. They played a hell of a game as a defense. Um, that was probably the best defense against the Bengals that I have seen. We did a really good job of. Cincinnati has a really weak offensive line. They really do, and they need to get that offensive line fixed in order for them to be a legit like contender. But like I said, though, the one thing about Ryan Tannehill was I know some people can say, well, that last throw he did, you know, the receiver should have caught it. It bounced up and boom, interception. But Ryan Tannehill, when it comes to the playoffs, and he did it last year and he did it the year that we went to the AFC Championship against Kansas City, he does not know how. All he's got to do is manage the game, manage the clock, manage the game. That's all you got to do. Yeah, thank you, Prodigal Hill. Tannehill was a wide receiver up until he was in his senior year in college. So you know the position really well because you played that position. But yet, no. What you decided to do was you looked shaky, you looked, you basically blew, and you basically cost us a chance at the AFC Championship at home. Now we've have it 3 times where we have been the number 1 seed and we've lost in the divisional round, and that is squarely on Ryan Tannehill. It's not on the offensive line. It's not on Derrick Henry. It's not on Foreman. It's not on A.J. Brown. It is on Ryan Tannehill. Is the reason why we lost the game. When you get 3 interceptions, 3 turnovers, you're not going to win a football game. I don't care what team you are. And I'm a little red hot. I've kept my emotions in. You know, I know some Bengals fans. I know Dashy's gonna come in here saying, "Hi, you got the chili curse." Fuck that chili curse. There ain't no goddamn curse. I mean, it is what it is. Like I said, I'm starting to believe the Prodigal Hill on the fact that the NFL could possibly be rigged. And I'm not trying to go against it. I mean, I'm not trying to say that we didn't lose the game because we absolutely did lose the game. And really good coaching there by Zach Taylor at the end. Because once you call timeout, another team can't call timeout right after that. So we were not able to ice the kicker. So that was really good coaching there by Zach Taylor. Mike Vrabel has done a hell of a job this whole season. Starting a season where we've had 91 players, we've had so many players hurt. Um, Mike Vrabel's got nothing to be ashamed of. He's a really good coach, and he's the best coach for us. Um, I don't know if I would have quite. No, Dashy, you guys are not a better team. I'm sorry. If you think you guys are a better team, then you are delusional. No, 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 no. I'm sorry. I can't say that you guys were the better team. Y'all were a better team today, but you guys are not the better team. I think it's scripted, but why not run with Foreman's hot leg? You know what? I thought Foreman did a really good job, and Foreman has his hot legs. He was there for us. Derrick Henry, I felt like could have had a couple snaps. Like I would have used Derrick Henry in a third down situation, or I would have used him in an end zone situation. Um, I felt like that part of the offense was not clicking. But my biggest problem with this whole situation was I don't think we should have went for two there. I agree, Andrew. Andrew, 100%, man, 110%. Right. Foreman, I felt like should have got the start, and I really do believe that. I mean, I love Derrick Henry. Do not get me wrong, but I've had a fractured foot before, and I know that a foot injury is very hard to come up. It's very hard to get over that. You have a hard time getting over a foot injury, and for someone of Derrick Henry's size and stature, that's a very hard thing to do, especially when you have a plate in your foot. And that Cincinnati did a really good job with that, and we did an amazing job because they kept saying that Joe Burrow was so untouchable. We had 9 sacks on that motherfucker. He ain't untouchable, not by a long shot. But yeah, I feel like the Titans need to either in I don't know if it's I don't know if it's free agency or the draft, but we need to definitely look at another quarterback. And Mark Willis, if he drops down to round two, I think that would be a good pickup as a nice little backup for Tannehill. Um, I think that Ryan Tannehill's days in Tennessee are numbered, very much numbered. And Todd Downing too is the offensive coordinator. Yes, absolutely, absolutely, Andrew. And that's another guy that I'm not very fond of. Now, I think the defense is just fine. If we can keep our key players on defense, we're fine. Simmons was being baby Thanos out there, and Harold Landry was one of the best Russian linebackers in the league this year. So I still think the Titans play a really good style of football: run, smash mouth, stingy defense. That still will get you very far. It's just when you have a quarterback like Ryan Tannehill, who's good during the regular season and got hot there toward the end, but then when it comes to the big lights and the big stars and everything else aligned, I know that's the thing. If Foreman, let's see what he said here. If Foreman had 2 carries, he would have dropped 100 on Cincinnati. You can't brag when you given 16.5 yards per carry. You know what? That's the thing. That's the thing about these Cincinnati fucking Bengal fans. They go around there, they were bragging up a storm, going, our defense is going to stop Derrick Henry. You're going to stop this guy. I'm like, well, A.J. Brown got a touchdown on you. You didn't stop A.J. Brown. I don't know. I really honestly think that we need a quarterback that can air it out with Julio and A.J. Brown. And Ryan Tannehill is not the guy. I'm sorry, he is not the guy. And I know some Titan fans are probably going to be pissed at me for it, but I've been very vocal about it, and I've said from day one that Ryan Tannehill is not the guy to lead this team. He's a great regular season quarterback. Don't get me wrong. Regular season, he looks like a fucking elite quarterback. But when you go into the playoffs, he's not there. And when he's not there, that's exactly what happens. I just feel like that we have a lot of emotions right now here in Nashville. A lot of people are not happy. I just really, 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 I could punch Tannehill in the face right now. I so would. I would punch Ryan Tannehill in the face right now. I had a New Orleans Saints fan try to diss the Cowboys. The Cowboys have more Super Bowls in the entire NFC South. I get it, but yep, that's true. And you know, Dashy on here earlier was like, "Hey, the chili curse, chili curse." I mean, you guys were lucky because there was one point where we were down there in the end zone and an interception happened. We could have easily scored that touchdown, and then we would have been talking about a different ball game. So for them to sit there and say y'all tried, but we won. Let me clarify something to that. We had you guys shitting in your pants the entire game. And if any Bengal fan want to come at me and say that's not true, look at the stats. Facts, my friend. You guys were scared, and I know y'all were scared. Y'all were worried. And if you say that you're not worried, then I know you're lying. But I just feel like that we just didn't really get a chance to. I'm just really pissed off about the Tannehill right now. It's just that's just really bad, 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 bad play calling from the offensive coordinator. Todd Downing needs to go. It was really bad calls. Can't win a game when you throw free interceptions, and there's really not much else I can say about it except for the fact that I'm probably not going to let it live it down. Congratulations again to the Cincinnati Bengals, but I want to forewarn anybody right now. The mood that I'm in right now, I wouldn't try to be a funny motherfucker right now. I'm looking for a. All right, hold on a minute. I'm gonna get some people in here. I'm not gonna be long. Let's see, I got somebody coming in. Something here. So we'll know after next game. San Francisco wins. I pretty much can see Brady versus 49ers. I can see that storyline. I can see that. Hey Shelby,
Hey Kev, what's up?
not much, man. How you doing?
Pretty good.
Actually, I have to say you called the right thing earlier. The last interception was not Tannehill's fault. It was the receiver's fault for not catching it and the ball going into the air. But I will say this: I know you guys are probably happy that we lost.
Well, it's if Tennessee would listen, the Colts didn't go very far. It's obvious. We couldn't beat a 2-14 team. I mean, it is what it is. I think we just lost our identity at the end of the season. Carson Wentz's ass. I mean, it's obvious, but uh, I can't come out here and bash Tennessee. I mean, they played a good game.
What's interesting, Shelby, about that is the fact that we know Dashy was in that chat earlier today talking about a chili curse, and I'm like, I've never heard of a chili curse before. That was interesting, but for, but the one thing about Cincinnati fans is and I'll say this about them: I got nothing against Cincinnati. I think they're a great young team. I think Joe Burrow is going to be an elite quarterback. My biggest problem with their fan base is that they made it seem like they were going to kick the crap out of us.
I, you know, Out of all the things that could have happened, I think it was the other way around. I didn't want to admit that, but I had a bad feeling before the game happened because I was out all day, so I couldn't watch the game. But I had a gut feeling that when I was checking the score, it was going to be like 30-6 Tennessee, and lo and behold, it was actually 9-6 Cincinnati, and I'm like, man, this is a defensive game.
It's a hard thing, man. I mean, I don't even know what to like. I have really bad emotion right now when I saw it. I was like, this is not again. It's like a not again situation. We get the number one seed, get to the AFC division. We can't even win a game at home. We haven't won a playoff game at home since the Bills.
Yeah, I hear you, man. The Colts, they haven't won a playoff game since 2018, and I know that's not a long time to some people, but that's 4 years. So it it'll get. I'm sure Tennessee will be back. I wouldn't get rid of Tannehill just simply for the fact that who are you going to replace him with? I don't think Aaron Rodgers is going to Tennessee.
No.
I don't think Aaron Rodgers is leaving.
So you don't think Aaron Rodgers is leaving Green Bay?
No. And Russell Wilson, that's going to be too much to give up for him. But a team like New York will probably do it, and they will probably be horrible again because instead of building through the draft, they're going to waste all their picks trying to get Russell Wilson.
Some Titan fans think I'm crazy, but I said that we should try for Deshaun Watson, and they're like, "What?" I'm like, "Yeah."
I mean, if you can, I think he's going to get suspended. I don't think he's going to get banned from the league indefinitely, but I think he will get suspended for like 5 or 6 games, like Antonio Brown did. Which he's a Antonio Brown is a clown in himself, but we'll get to that maybe a little later. But Deshaun Watson, despite the allegations, I think he's a really good quarterback, and I think everybody is sleeping on him.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I feel like if Deshaun Watson's out there, I don't care if you're any team in the NFL. If you're not thinking about possibly trading for Deshaun Watson, you're delusional.
But I will say this about my Indianapolis Colts. I think we are a quarterback away from going to the Super Bowl. I don't think Carson Wentz is going to take us to the promised land.
Yeah, there was some Titan fan that said, "Hey, maybe we should trade Carson Wentz for Ryan Tannehill."
No, you guys will. I would take Ryan Tannehill over Carson Wentz right now, just simply because Ryan Tannehill doesn't. He made some mistakes. Don't get me wrong. In this game, he made some like dorky throws, but Ryan Tannehill, he can step up in a big game.
Yeah, that's one big problem with the Titans too. Is they need a really good tight end. We don't have a tight end, and I don't know. I mean, I'm probably not going to get this. Is probably not going to be popular with Titan fans, but I felt like Derrick Henry came back too soon. And
What was his stats, by the way? I didn't catch it.
I have to look. Let me see. I know he got a touchdown, which was nice to see, but then they try to go for two, and I'm like, no, don't go for two. Let's see. Recap here. Dashy was trying to say that the Bengals are a better team, but I just don't think so. Dante Foreman had 4 carries for 66 yards. Derrick Henry had 20 carries for 62 yards.
Yeah, he came back too early. He's not that dominant running back, you know, that like he was this season before his injury.
We had AJ Brown had 5 receptions for 142 yards and a touchdown. Julio Jones, 6 receptions, 62 yards.
I wonder why and this will always puzzle me is why the Colts won't go out and try and get some of these big names like Julio Jones and all of that. That could have helped us this season. I don't know why Chris Ballard won't do that.
I think you guys have a. I think you guys would have had another receiver because we all know that T.Y. Hilton is getting older, so you kind of need that other receiver there. I think you
Well,
guys would definitely go. I think you guys would definitely go for a receiver in the draft.
T.Y. Hilton and Jack Doyle are both contemplating retirement.
Jesus.
So we're going to lose two, like, really good players.
So who do you got? So who do you got in the Packer 49er game, Shelby? Who do you think's will win this one?
I think Packers. I actually said I thought it's going to be pretty ugly for the 49ers.
To be honest with you, I wasn't. I was the only one of the very few people that said that I knew this Bengals and Titans game were going to be a low scoring game, and everybody's like, "Yeah, right." I'm like, "No," but it's going to be a low scoring game.
I thought it would be under 40 points. Like I said, I thought it was going to be 30-6. But hey, you got to give props to Cincinnati though. That defense. I think that their defense kept them in the game.
Their defense kept them in the game. The Titans' defense kept them in the game. It was a nice little back and forth battle. Um, I was really happy with the fact that we got to Joe Burrow 9 times and we put him down on the ground.
Oh
That was
yeah. Well, I seen your little comment in the group chat about Joe Burrow and his uh, sticking D's and Joe Burrow.
yep. Hey, you know what? There's this new Bengals fan on there who was guaranteeing a victory, which I'm pretty sure he's bragging now. But he basically said that he calls Joe Burrow Big Dick Joe. So I was like, well, if that's the case, then he got 9 dicks in the ass, right?
Well, now if the Colts would have made the playoffs and they would have won against like a team like New England or something like that, because let's be honest, if the Colts and Patriots would have played again, the Colts probably would have won. But if the Colts would have made the playoffs, won a playoff game, and the Titans would have lost, then I could get up here and say no, 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 no. But I can't say that because where are the Colts right now? They're on the sofa.
Hey, you know what? Though the one thing I'll say too is people can make fun of the AFC South all you want, but at one point in time, we were good, Houston was good, and you guys were good. So I don't cross out the AFC South just yet.
I think, and I was going to ask you about this. I think Trevor Lawrence is a lot better than what people are saying about him.
Trevor Lawrence just needs to be in a new system, which he will be, and you know, you don't want to play under Urban Meyer, who likes looking at women, and messing with ladies. So,
Well, no, he likes to dance with younger women.
oh yeah, of course. I mean, he's at the same strip clubs with Steven Rose. You know, man. But anyway, though, I mean, I know some people are probably pissed for the tournament of champions because they all some of the people picked the Titans, and I'm like, well, it's the nature of the beast.
I made it to round 3. I'm happy.
Oh, you made it to round 3.
Yeah. But then I was put in a lose-lose situation. I got, I can't remember who I got, but I got all the lower seeds and they lost.
Is Steven still making y'all pick NBA games?
Yeah.
Oh, good lord!
I hate that.
Oh my gosh!
Because I
I
don't
finally get
follow
rid
the
of
NBA
that.
that much. So I don't know who's good and who's not. I follow the Pacers sometimes. I know they are trash this year.
So that's the reason why I didn't rejoin his thing. I haven't joined it in 2 years because I'm like, I don't like picking NBA games. If I don't follow the NBA, then what's the point of picking it?
I got lucky with one of them. I picked the Lakers to beat I think the Grizzlies, and they did that. I was surprised because the Grizzlies are actually pretty good this year.
So let me ask you, Shelby, who you think's going to be in the Super Bowl?
I think it's gonna be the Chiefs. I just think they're unstoppable. And as far as the NFC, I'm gonna go with a surprise. I think it's gonna be the Rams.
So you think it's going to be a Rams Chiefs Super Bowl?
Yes, and I think Matthew Stafford's gonna get a ring.
Well, my buddy Prodigal Hill in the comment section, he's picked the Rams since the start of the season.
Same here. I said it. I actually picked them in the offseason when they got Matthew Stafford. I'm like, oh my god, Matthew Stafford's gonna get a ring. I was actually celebrating. I'm like, good for him because he was on a bad team for too long.
Yeah, and you know what's funny is there's a Charger fan that was on here and was like talking shit about the Titans with Dashy, and then he would come on my thing and going, "Hey, I like you both. I respect you both." I'm like, first of all, you're a Charger fan. Why the hell you care if the Bengals win? It's
I
like,
think the Prodigal Heel said that Brady will get a. I don't think it's going to be Brady this year.
the
I
only
think
way, the only way I can see it being Brady again is if Stafford's playing one of those games where he turns into old Matthew Stafford. Then I can see Then I can see the Buccaneers coming in. I mean, beating the Rams because Stafford wasn't playing the game he was supposed to.
I I don't think Matthew Stafford could turn into his old self because I think he's got too many weapons now. Because back then, the only weapon he really had was Calvin Johnson, and if he was on the sidelines, then he could make some mistakes. I also think that Tampa Bay, I think they had too much drama this season. I think it's going to come back to bite them.
You heard it there first. Shelby's picking the Chiefs and the Rams. I'm still saying I mean I know I might have said I was hoping for a Titans Packers Super Bowl because I got family in Wisconsin, but I'm going to stick with my pick. I think it's going to be a rematch of the first Super Bowl. I think it's going to be Kansas City and Green Bay.
That wouldn't be a bad Super Bowl either. I
I think,
would definitely like to see Aaron Rodgers get another one. I want the Chiefs to go back, or maybe the Bengals, but I just want to see an NFC team win it this year. If my Colts are not going to be in it, I would at least like to see an NFC team for a change win the Super Bowl.
you know what? I like that. I like that mindset because I know we're all supposed to be like, hey, we're supposed to pick the AFC team. No, no. If no other team that's not your team or my team, why the fuck would I care?
It's not that I have any hate towards any other team. It's just that, you know, I since the Colts are on the couch, I am a temporary fan of another team in the playoffs. I can root for whoever I want, except for New England and Tampa Bay. I refuse to root for those two teams because I don't like Brady, and I think the Patriots are scum. All of them.
I'll tell you what, Shelby. I know if you're having trouble in the women department, do not ask Stephen Rose for advice.
That would be a good idea if I was actually into women.
Oh, but don't. But in a love device, don't. In love advice, don't ask Stephen Rose.
Well, that might have been too late too because I already asked him. I think I asked him. I think a few months back.
Oh, jeez. What did he tell you?
I don't remember. He said something about you just gotta approach the ladies or something like that.
Yeah, can you imagine if can you imagine if Stephen Rose was the owner, what was the president of the NFL, commissioner of NFL? All 32 teams would make the playoffs.
No, 16 teams from each conference. Well, and then you have to have extra cheerleaders for the Super Bowl.
Yep. But I'll tell you this though, if the Rams do go to the Super Bowl, they would definitely have home field advantage because it is in Los Angeles.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the Super Bowl is in Los Angeles. So they would have now a good storyline is because that Kurt Warner movie came out. If the Rams can win and get to the Super Bowl, that would be like a nice little story right there.
See, I didn't know anything about that. So now I'm going to be rooting for them even more now.
Yeah,
But
that yeah, they had a Kurt Warner movie that came out like I think like last month. It was in the theaters, so
that should be a good movie. I have to watch it sometime.
I don't know if you follow wrestling much anymore, Shelby, but next week they got Brock Lesnar versus Bobby Lashley for the WWE Championship.
Well, I got fed up with them trying to push Brock down our throats. That I just said, okay, I turned it off.
Do you watch AEW?
Nope, I think it's horseshit.
I don't know, man. If you come on my channel, people and like anytime I hate AEW, I get like fucking hate mail.
I think it's dog shit. The only thing they did right was trying to bring CM Punk on there, and it flopped.
Hey, there's Leon in the chat. Scorpion Dare Hey, what's up? Yeah, I mean, honestly, another thing AEW did too was that they did hire Sting, so I give them credit for that.
Yeah, I mean, there's some good things that they did, but I don't think that you're not going to be able to compete with WWE no matter what you do. It's like the NFL. They're too big of a company to try and compete with. You're better off just trying to do your own thing. And I think they messed up because I think they made it apparent early on, even though they didn't say it, that they were trying to compete with WWE.
Oh, their owner Tony Khan, who actually is funny because you're in the same AFC South with me, so how how the Khans are as far as running the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Yeah.
So if you guys follow football, you know how the Khans are with the NFL. I can guarantee you right now, the Khans would not run the AEW right either.
Well, I don't even know why you would try to run a wrestling company when your football team's in the toilet.
You
Like,
know, the one thing too, Shelby. I want to get your advice on this. A lot of there's some people that feel like that the NFL could be rigged and fixed. What do you think?
I think certain moments it is, um, especially with like you know Deflategate and all that stuff. I mean, that stuff was probably set up for New England to win the Super Bowl. I don't think you could script football. The way they catch and run and all that. You obviously have to have talent there. But I think if the refs get together before the game, I think they do play a part in which team is more likely to win. Now, some teams do overcome that, and the Super Bowl between the Steelers and the Seahawks was a prime example of that. But I think that sometimes the refs do get together and decide who wins and loses games. For
I think
Vegas, of
I
course.
think one of the biggest screw jobs we've seen in a very long time was if I'm not mistaken, it was the NFC division round between the Vikings and the Saints, and you could clearly see that was pass interference right in front of the ref,
Yeah.
but they didn't call it. So Prodigal Hill says magnetic gloves. Football could be choreographed just like wrestling.
I think that's a little too far fetched for me to believe. But it's a good theory. I mean, it can happen, but I think it's just a little too far fetched. I think it's mostly the refs get together before games and decide who wins, who loses for Vegas. Because you got to think, um, who would have thought the Nick Foles led Eagles would defeat Tom Brady and the New England Patriots? Nobody. Everyone was betting on the Patriots. So the refs got together, and the Eagles, I mean, they were loaded on defense and offense. So I'm sure that they played pretty well to win that game. But there were some calls that went against New England too.
Actually, I posted. Prodigal Hill had to call me out on that because yeah, I said the Vikings. It was actually the Rams and the Saints. I remember that now. So, but I will say this though: who in the um, who in the NFL you think is protected more than anybody?
Tom Brady,
Tom Brady. Yep.
because whatever he gets, any call he wants, you can't touch him at all without getting flagged. And that may not be. That could be because of his age too. We gotta because he is 44 years old. So if somebody like tries to lay a hit on him, like a big hit, they could flag it. Because of his age. So maybe that has something to do with it. But I think most what what was your wording? Most protected or something like that.
Well, I'll tell you this much: any NFL defender that's got really close to Brady, like you touch him in the head, you touch him in the leg, you will get a you will get a flag thrown at you.
Another person who draws a lot of flags is, believe it or not, Carson Wentz. I mean, if you watch some of the games this year, he threw the ball up there, clearly uncatchable. Both the receiver and the defender goes down, there's a flag. Pass interference. I'm like, what? How? Like, even as a Colts fan, like, some of these calls are just ridiculous.
Now I gotta ask you, Dash. I mean, I gotta ask you this, Shelby. The hate week between me and Dash, the first video and his video. If you were scoring the hate week, who would you give that to?
Now, I personally didn't watch them, but I think that between the hate weeks that me and you put on, I have to say yours would probably be better. Because me and you, I mean, we killed it back then. So I couldn't imagine, a few years later. I mean, we may have to get together and do that again next season.
Well, I told Stephen Rose that I would come back and do something against him, but because his Texans suck, he didn't want to do it.
Hey, my Colts sucked in 2016. I still shoved my face.
That is true. In 2010, NFL did declare itself a sports entertainment in a court case. So that is true. They did do that. It's one of those things too where we as NFL fans, we can bitch and complain about referees. We can complain about coach should have did this, coach should have did that. This guy should have threw it here. But unless we're playing under pressure and we're on that field, we really can't say much.
Yeah.
And that's how I look at it. I mean, I played football before until to college, and I can tell you this much: you start wrapping your brain, and you're like, "Wow, I should have threw it this way. I should have did it this way. I should have." You go through those emotions, and I think Tannehill will still be the starter for us next year. But I do think that we need to look at getting a guy in the future for that can replace him.
Oh, kind of like a backup
Yeah, like a
transition into
predecessor.
starter.
Yeah.
I think the Colts already have that for Carson Wentz. I am really a big fan of that Sam Ellinger from Texas, and I like his style. He can run, he can throw, he can do the read option pretty well. I wouldn't mind them adding another quarterback to kind of give Carson that, pressure that he needs. But I think we should keep Sam Ellinger.
To be honest with you, I felt the Eagles should have gotten rid of Carson sooner. They should have kept Nick Foles when they won the Super Bowl. I would have stayed.
I think that damaged. Sorry, go ahead.
No, you go ahead, man. I'm good.
I think that damaged Carson Wentz. When Nick Foles won that Super Bowl, I think that damaged him because then he said, "Oh, well, now the pressure is all on me. I have to do this and that." And you notice the years after Nick Foles won that Super Bowl, he tried to play hero ball. He tried to force things. He tried to do everything. And still to this day on the Colts, he's still trying to do everything. Those shovel passes. Whenever like a defensive lineman even gets remotely close to him, he just puts his head down and tries to run through him. It's just insane.
Let me ask you, Shelby. I know who I don't like as announcers in the NFL, but who's the combo that you don't like?
I haven't really ran into anybody that I disliked. I think most of the 1 o'clock crews are pretty bad. Oh well, not pretty bad. I mean, they're all professionals and all that, but I think the 1 o'clock crew is just, it doesn't compare to the 4:25 crew and the 8 o'clock crew or 7 o'clock. Whatever time zone you live at.
I always laugh at Tony Romo because He always talks about what play is about to happen and what play is about to start happening. And I'm sitting there thinking, well, if you knew that, you wouldn't have thrown so many interceptions in Dallas.
Hey, that's true.
I don't like Chris Collinsworth. That's one of the guys that I really don't like because he bounces off every team. He starts mooching off the team that's starting to win, and then he'll change it around and be like, "Oh well, I talked to Tom the other day, and Tom told me that he went over there and bought this thing." And I'm like, "What in the world are you talking about?"
Unfortunately, I do have to disagree. I think the Sunday Night Crew is the best out of all of them. Although I do like uh, the Fox crew, Troy Aikman, and what's that other dude's name?
Joe Buck.
Yeah, I do like them a lot. My top three would probably be CBS at 3 o'clock, Fox at 3, and then NBC.
Buck's a better baseball analyst than he is a football. But the thing with Troy Aikman that I don't like is the fact that you can tell how many concussions he's gotten, but he's very. One thing I don't like about Troy Aikman as an announcer is he tends to favorite like a lot of teams that he went up against when he was a player. He kind of starts to badmouth them a little bit. And I'm like, you gotta when you're a guy like that, you gotta be you gotta be partial.
Well, it's really bad when the Giants play. I mean, you can tell. He has the whole NFC East except for the Cowboys. You can tell he just, especially if it's Cowboy versus Giants. Oh man, he's fired up now.
I know he doesn't like the Eagles because when Michael Irvin had that neck injury, he was laughing. The Eagles fans were cheering when he got hurt.
I gotta ask too, what the hell is wrong with the Cowboys? They get into the playoffs every year and they just fall apart.
I think the problem with Dallas is you have a really good running back in Ezekiel Elliott, and the problem is Mike McCarthy, and I know he was a Green Bay coach, and yeah, he got a Super Bowl with Green Bay, but the problem is Mike McCarthy likes to pass, 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 and when you have Dak Prescott passing for 300 or 400 yards a game, they always lose the game. So that's why they need to go back to the run game and let Ezekiel take care of that. I feel like
I
that's one of the biggest problems they got.
I think the problem is Jerry Jones is too, like, he's too much of a, how do I word this? He's too in control with the organization. I think they need to hire like a football president or somebody that has, because he's getting older and just has more understanding of the game. Not that Jerry Jones doesn't know football. I mean, he has 2 championships or 3. I don't really know, but
Yes, three.
okay, 3.
Yeah.
So not to say he doesn't know football, but he's kind of getting to the Bill Polian. He's kind of getting older. He doesn't really know what's going on. He sometimes he does get mad for no reason. So I think they need to hire like a football president, just someone to be there to kind of say, "Hey, listen, everything will be fine. Just don't overreact." But I think hiring that Mike McCarthy was a mistake because he didn't. He was kind of trending downward in Green Bay.
I think Dallas needs a new, younger coach who fits into what the system that they want to do. I think Dallas, when they find their identity, when they play good defense and they run the ball, Dallas is hard to beat. They're probably one of the best NFC teams in the league when they do that. And they proved that when they were going up against Tampa in the first game of the season. They actually they gave the Bucks a run. So I think the problem with Dallas lies within their coaching and them always depending on Dak Prescott to throw over like 300 or 400 yards. When you do that, Dak can't handle that kind of deal.
I'm gonna test something real quick. If I disconnect, I'll be right back.
Okay.
All right, am I still in?
Yep.
Okay, good. It's cold out here, so I was wanting to make sure I could put my phone in my pocket.
Let's see. That's probably why we get ratings on the field. They need Charles Haley. I would have gotten Bucker or Nick Chubbs the following year. I would have gotten DK Metcalf over them. Yep. Yep.
DK Metcalf's a good receiver. I think he does. When he started that beef with Shannon Sharp, though, that kind of turned me off a little bit. Because it's like you don't call out one of the greatest tight ends of all time, especially when you're a rookie in the league.
Well, I'm not a really big fan of Shannon Sharp because he tends to think LeBron James is better than Michael Jordan, and you were delusional.
Oh, this might be a debate. I actually believe LeBron is better.
Whoa. Oh my God. Shelby.
I-
No.
You gotta face the facts. It is
No. Okay.
110% legit.
Okay. I'll say this much. LeBron is more hated than Michael was. Michael has won 6 championships without going to a game 7, and he hasn't lost an NBA Finals. He's not only was he a scoring guy, but he also was all team defense and won Defensive Player of the Year 3 or 4 times. And he played in a league where they were getting pounded and hit and everything like that. So LeBron never got to play in a league where they got to get hit a lot. So unless you could take LeBron back in the past and put him in there against like the old bad boy Detroit team or something like that, then I could be like, all right, let's see what you can do.
Yeah, but here's the advocate to that. Now Jordan did play in the league where it was smash mouth basketball. However, every team in the NBA at that time had 2 players that were good. There were a few teams that were just bad. Until the Pacers got Reggie Miller, they were bad. But there were a few teams. It's like the NFL now and the NFL like it used to be. There were a few teams that were just horrible. Nowadays, you have 5 teams that are good. And they are super teams. You got the Golden State Warriors, who they got Steph Curry, Klay Thompson. Do they still have D'Angelo Russell?
I don't know if they do or not.
You got, let's see, who else? You got the Phoenix Suns, who have Devin Booker, DeAndre Ayton, and they've got someone else. I can't remember. I don't really follow the NBA that much, so I couldn't name you like their rosters. But I mean, you know which teams I'm talking about, who are like just stacked. And it's been that way ever since LeBron left to join the Heat. And LeBron, I'll never understand that because I believe in you have to win a championship with the team you were drafted by, which he eventually did. He came back to Cleveland, won them a title. Good for them. But then he went to the Lakers, and he struggled on the Lakers. I won't lie, he did. And then he traded the whole team for Anthony Davis, if you don't recall.
I do.
And then he won a championship with Anthony Davis. And now they're I don't know what they're trying to do this year. But then they had the whole COVID thing. and I'm not trying to make an excuse for LeBron here, but that COVID thing kind of screwed the NBA up for a year. But LeBron, I don't know how many, he went to like 9 or 10 straight NBA finals, and that is impressive by any player. And I just think his numbers are better than Jordan's. If we're just talking about individual stats, and I'll just because I don't like to go by just championships, unless you're.
What's up, man?
What's up?
What's up?
Yeah, that's true. No, I mean it's not even comparable. I don't even think LeBron's on Kobe's level. I don't even have him. He doesn't even have a real position. You know what I'm saying? He's what are you going to put him at point guard? He would be an okay point guard, but I don't think I'd take him over like say Magic Johnson or Isaiah Thomas. Are you going to put him at small forward? I'm not putting him over Scottie Pippen or any one of them guys in the 90s. And as shooting guard, he's not even close to Jordan or Kobe. So I meant, yeah, he's gotten a lot of points in a watered down league, kind of. And it's funny because I hear a lot of guys sit there and, I mean, it's all about the numbers. You know what I'm saying? It's all about statistics now. And it's all about, metrics and stuff. And it's not really, it doesn't translate to a solid product. This is part of the problem with the NFL right now, is everything's about metrics and analytics, but it doesn't put out a really entertaining product. So when you look at a guy like Jordan, whenever he was playing in the Eastern Conference, he had to survive. You had the Bad Boy Pistons. You had the New York Knicks. Both of those teams were, pretty tenacious as far as their defense. And then you had the Nets that would always give them hell. Everybody showed up to give the Chicago Bulls all they could handle. And whenever you look at LeBron, the league he's more of a marketing tool. You know what I'm saying? He's sold as basically kind of like a pretty much a publicity stunt at this point in time. Even from whenever he made his decision, you kind of knew, okay, well, this guy is definitely not anything like Jordan or even Kobe for that matter. And so, yeah, I just can't do it. I can't sit there and say, I mean, I hear the NBA fans and they'll talk about this guy's cold, that guy's cold. Oh, this guy's good, that guy's good. But whenever you look at the defense, like I said, they don't really play defense hardly at all. It's almost like there yet again, to me, it's almost like watching the NFL. It's kind of choreographed. And like I said, you'll have these ridiculous, like the Cowboys game. It's the perfect example. They're trying to line up, and all of a sudden the referee comes from behind. That referee should have already been in position to go ahead, take the ball. He shouldn't have been running from behind, because that's one of the things that you got to do as a referee. But all of a sudden he's running behind. He's tripping up on the play. Dak's not going to kneel the ball, and that's going to essentially be a what if. You know what I'm saying? And I was trolling the Cowboys fans and Duke Bothers thing, saying, yeah, I could already tell. You can usually get a sense of if you're going to win the game or if you're going to lose the game in the first quarter, particularly if you know exactly what it's, kind of looking like. And the reason why I said that we'll know exactly who's going to be playing in the NFC Championship game after this game is because, of course, you look at all these storylines and all the stuff that they're putting out and all the stuff that YouTube promotes, and it's like, okay, well, I'm starting to see a lot of these, Cincinnati videos on YouTube because YouTube will promote it. Cincinnati losing. So that doesn't seem like, and I wanted to tell you this before because whenever I get on YouTube on my TV, NFL stuff will pop up just because, I've been watching more of the NFL stuff this season because I was doing Steven Rose's Tournament of Champions. And generally, like whenever the Cowboys, they were showing a lot of the stuff where the Cowboys were beating the 49ers. And then, of course, we ended up losing that game. and I started to get this bad feeling because I seen a lot of the stuff where the Cincinnati Bengals were being beaten in the playoffs and whatnot, and I'm like, oh, okay, I see what's going on here. But I was going to wait until see how this game turned out, and I mean, I'm not totally surprised because I was just watching a video earlier today of Cincinnati and I think it was the Bills or somebody, I forget who it was, that they were playing in the playoffs, and of course they lost. And I'm like, okay, so it looks like YouTube is promoting Cincinnati in kind of a subtle way. But yeah, I mean, it doesn't look anything like the game that I grew up with at all. Even from the early 2000s, it doesn't look the same. So that's why I don't really watch it at the end of the day. Even though I got into an argument with a guy, I told him, I said, I don't watch it though.
Oh, Shelby, the guy that the Prodigal Hill pissed off was Camel Toes.
Oh yeah, that was great.
Yeah. Well, yeah, hey, I get it, but when, like I said, whenever I got into it, Camel Toes is like, oh, don't sit there and, oh, don't be a pussy, own up to your loss. And I'm like, dude, I don't even watch the NFL. I really don't, but I support Duke Bothers. I follow Duke Bothers. I've watched Duke Bothers videos and whatnot. I watch Big Kez videos. So, yeah, I go into the comment section. But if you think that I'm going to sit there and, be all weepy about the Cowboys losing, you're absolutely wrong because I don't care. But I will still talk shit. I am a shit talker. That's what I do. That's what the guy found out the other day that was trying to give me hell about the Dallas Cowboys. Okay, wait a minute. What was your record in the NFC East? Oh, yeah, 1-3, and you didn't beat the Cowboys, and you didn't make the playoffs, and you're still talking shit? The dude sounded like a damn Jehovah's Witness. Have you heard about my Super Bowl in 2010 lately? Dude, fucking nobody cares, man. Damn. So he's like, well, why didn't you get it? We made the playoffs, all right? I could sit there and talk shit with you, and I'm going to sit there and piss you off, and I'm going to sit there and make you angry because that's what I do. But, yeah.
You know what's weird, though, about that is the fact that the most shit talk I ever see Cowboys fans get is like, y'all haven't won a championship since 1995. And I'm like, and that's like their main argument majority of the time. Is that, and I'm like, guys, you got to have a different argument.
Yeah, because we probably have more Super Bowls than you have playoff appearances. So I mean, it's kind of like the Cincinnati Bengals fans out there. I know that they're going to sit there and they're going to run their little victory lap, and they got their little 3-point win. Motherfuckers, whenever you give up 16.5 yards a carry to somebody, that's nothing to be excited about. Because I guarantee you, if you got to go to Kansas City, you are not going to win that fucking game. You should definitely be worried. Yeah, there should be a little fucking soylent yellow right there at the edge of your fucking pants because you cannot let a running back come in and do that to you because I guarantee you, Patrick Mahomes is not Ryan Tannehill. And, their defense is pretty solid as well.
Well, both teams, it was a very defensive game, and the Bengals, whoever they have to play, whether it's Kansas City or Buffalo, I think they're going to lose. I don't think they're winning that game.
I think they could beat Buffalo. I don't think that they could beat Kansas City. So if Buffalo manages to upset Kansas City, and the reason why is because Buffalo doesn't have the running game. You know what I'm saying? They don't have that running game. And I went back, actually, before this game started, Big Kev. I went back and I said, well, I want to see how Tennessee would fare, see how their running defense would do against Cincinnati. And lo and behold, their run defense is not that great. However, whenever you're looking at Buffalo, it's all Josh Allen. And to me, that's kind of like Green Bay. That's why I'm never high on Green Bay. It's because Green Bay totally relies on Aaron Rodgers for a majority of its offense. So if you take out Aaron Rodgers, you're taking out a majority of the offense. And that's the way I feel about the Bills, is that everything is through Josh Allen. If they had a better running game, then I'd be like, okay, their defense is decent, but I think that Cincinnati could beat Buffalo. If it's Kansas City, I don't think that they can beat Kansas City. on paper, at least on paper. But like I said, then, nothing's for certain in this NFL. Like I said, if this would have been, I'd say, 8 or 9 years ago, I could probably do a hell of a lot better at these predictions. But since everything is just kind of sporadic now, and you can't never tell, you'll have 1 week in the season where all of the top team loses to all of the lower tier teams, and you'll have like 5 or 6 upsets in a week. And that was never really too much of a thing. You might have 2 or 3 upsets in a week, but nothing like it is this, now. Everything is based on like storylines and kayfabe and stuff. So you'll have the Raiders, right? And the Raiders will be doing good. And then people will be like, oh, well, they look like a pretty sexy pick. I'm going to jump on them. But then you have the John Gruden racist emails. And people are still like, oh, okay, they get rid of John Gruden. But people are still betting on the Raiders. So how do you get people to dislike the Raiders? Oh, well, you have Henry Ruggs come out, get a DWI, and then run over a lady and her dog. People are, you have the Houston Texans coming in, and to make Deshaun Watson look bad and make him look like the bad guy, you have all these sexual assault cases. All of a sudden, you know what I'm saying? Out of nowhere. You have the stuff with Urban Myers. So I'm at, Aaron Rodgers and his, he didn't take his, he doesn't have his VAXX. It's all scripted storyline BS implemented to make you go for one team to go. So it's much closer to the WWE than it's actually the NFL now. So it's probably one of the reasons why I don't watch it as much, too much drama. And then whenever you see the product on the field, it's definitely not the quality that we used to be able to watch, because, you look at these misplays, you look at a lot of it looks spotty. These missed tackles, these people just kind of doing these half-hearted tackles and letting runners go by them and whatnot. Like I said, it looks as spotty as AEW right now, to be honest with you. And so whenever I look at it, I'm like, I just, I'll watch Urinating Tree. And Urinating Tree always puts the highlights up there. It's one of the reasons why I still like watching his videos, even though sometimes he can get a little, he's got a great sense of humor, but he'll get a little cringy with it sometimes. But I like watching his videos because he's like, well, I don't know what this player was, that it was scripted that way. It's gotten to that point to where it's just like, I can't beat around the bush. Yeah, you're right. It absolutely looks fake right now. So,
well, I got a question for you. With this whole Aaron Rodgers drama, he showed his foot during the press conference. He talked about, I'm out of here after this season. Do you think he's going anywhere? Do you think he's staying in Green Bay? Because I believe he's staying in Green Bay. I don't really think he's going anywhere. So what's your take on that?
It just depends. It just depends on how much coverage they can get out of it. If they can get continuous coverage with people, all the Green Bay audience, let's say if there's a lot of Green Bay fans that watch it just to make sure that he doesn't leave, then he'll probably stay. But if people start to lose interest in the story and whatnot, I can potentially see him leaving. Just because, like I said, it's and like I said, it's not, ever since I think, like I said, 2010, the NFL has declared that it is sports entertainment in a court lawsuit that was filed against them by a New York Jets fan that was pressing charges on the NFL and, had a civil case against the NFL claiming that he was wrong because he had season passes to the New York Jets games and whatnot. And one of their kayfabe storylines, which is your Spygate stuff, came back to bite him in the ass, and he pressed charges on the NFL saying, hey, look, I paid for this, and all they need to do is provide entertainment. So they declared themselves to be a sports entertainment franchise, much like the NFL. So ever since Roger Goodell, since 2010, that's the way that they've been treating the NFL, is like sports entertainment. So, for personally, and this is where you get the kneeling stuff and all the social justice warrior stuff with the Black National Anthem that was being implemented. It's all propaganda. and they lost a large, following. They lost like 14% of their audience. And, with that being said, I think I was watching DD Cobra or Sports Wars or somebody, and they said, yeah, the NFL's ratings went up 6% for this playoffs. That's not good. That's why I thought that they may have ran with the Cowboys this year for the simple reason that whether you like the Cowboys or you hate the Cowboys get ratings because you're either watching them because you're a fan or you're watching them hoping they'll lose. One of the two. But generally, they're the most polarizing team in the NFL. So if you go back and look at the ratings, I was sitting there and you have Tampa Bay in the playoffs and you have Dallas in the playoffs, and they'll give you certain hints of what they plan on doing or one of the plans. The NFL has multiple scripts running up through this playoffs. You had Tennessee and the Rams, which would be a rematch. San Francisco's still in the playoffs right now playing Green Bay. I hear it in somebody's background. And Cincinnati. So those would be rematches. Then, like I said, they just came out with that movie, American Underdog. It was a great movie. I watched it. The Rams are still in it. That's a marketing strategy. So that's the way that Roger Goodell has looked at the NFL probably ever since he's come in. And like I said, I'd be lying to myself. And to try and make myself, I would have to suspend belief to believe that this was the sport that I knew back in the days. So, I mean, yeah, it's all based on the numbers and whatnot. Like, ESPN is desperate. They're falling off a cliff, so they're trying to find any kind of stories to help help their ratings and whatnot. If people are tuning in to Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay, they're going to keep Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay. But if all of a sudden he starts to lose interest, they'll do a Joe Flacco and move him to somewhere like New York or something.
Well, actually, it's already came out that Aaron Rodgers has said on a I don't know if any of y'all ever watch. I don't know if you ever watched this on YouTube, but there's a guy that used to be the kicker, used to be the punter of the Colts.
Oh, Pat McAfee?
Yeah. Well, he was on there.
Hell yeah.
And he said that if he leaves Green Bay, that he would retire, regardless of what happens. So, if Green Bay don't win it this year, and he wants out of Green Bay, and Green Bay lets him walk, this could be the last year we see Aaron Rodgers.
Well, I got to say this. Aaron Rodgers also claimed that he got that VAXX and had the ID, right? Kayfabe boys. And supposedly he never got that. So, Aaron Rodgers may say, yeah, you know what? I'll retire and pull a Brett Favre. He'll retire for like a day and then go to another team. That could be something. And then they could do the same thing that they did with Favre, where Favre would retire, come back, claim he's going to retire, come back. It's,
We got Duke Botters in the comment section saying, cheer you bastards. And I want to say a get well to Duke. He actually tested positive for the virus.
Or the commie cough, huh? You got the commie cough, Duke? that commie cough.
Hey, get well soon, brother.
Yeah. And he's going to get so, what's going to happen with Duke? He's going to get so delusional. He's going to start Duke cuttering everybody.
Just about everybody that I've worked around has either caught it, they were gone for a week, but my dad popped positive, and I still haven't caught anything. So much of anything.
They closed. So, I've been off for like a week. They closed my whole job down because of this Omicron.
I mean, we used to call it the flu, but back in my days, back whenever we didn't wear ritualistic shame muzzles, and if we got the flu, we just stayed home for a few days until we got over it. But now we have to shut stuff down. Wear a freaking full body hazmat suit to the work and live like the bubble boy now. Yeah.
Okay, guys, we have to get it right. You have to wear an N95 mask, and it has to be certified, or it won't work.
And while you're at it, just go ahead and get a Kevlar vest and maybe a Kevlar mask. Maybe that'll work. And you better go ahead and put that tinfoil hat because the aliens are probably monitoring your brain too. So
maybe I should jump on that train. Maybe on my site I should make Big Kev mask, and
yeah.
just basically hey, if you really want a mask, you don't want to get the kamikaze virus, then wear this.
I still like that guy that said, "Oh, we got to wear a mask." So he wore a Long Ranger mask, in the store and stuff. I thought that was pretty good. Oh, they told me to wear a mask, so I did.
I'm telling you right now, and I told Mel this too. If they keep letting us wear masks, I will put on my Michael Myers mask and walk around the store.
Dude, what you need to do is get a Batman mask and wear that motherfucker. Yeah, that way
mask.
Yeah, and then just talk in a voice. I'm wearing this mask because they told me to wear a mask.
I'm here because I want to beat people up who cough. No, but all seriousness though, Mel's parents up north got it around Christmas, and Mel's dad now and stepmom have it now. So, but it doesn't seem like it lasts very long because her dad's already looked like he's getting better, like after a few days of having it. So, and he's 70 years old. So,
yeah, both my parents had it, but I never caught it. And then my mom called me up and said, "You must have one hell of an immune system." But I actually think I actually caught it a few years ago before everybody decided that they were going to have a, mental breakdowns and start to wrap themselves in cellophane. I had it back then, so I think that I actually have a natural immunity. So
I have to say, Shelby, I was gonna say this, but I feel like you had the best FWE championship run because everybody got way behind you on that.
Yeah, those days it was pretty awesome because it was actually something fun. And 2K22 is coming out, so if you know what I'm hitting at.
Well, here's the problem I have with this 2K22 thing. Okay, they had the NWO Deluxe Edition for $109 just to have Eric Bischoff, Hogan, Hall, Nash, and X-Pac. I'm like, do I really want to spend $199? After, I understand 2K spending 2 years doing this game. I get it, but
it better be damn good. It better be damn good because, they're finally giving us this My GM and this My Rise, which I guess is a My Career, something like that. That's what it sounds like. But it better be good. We've waited 2 years for this game. 2K20 flopped big time. The worst selling 2K game.
If I make anything, and I would say this, if I make anything, it would be like the old school wrestling, and Poston knows what I'm talking about. It would be, the arena would be like old school, like 80s style wrestling.
Hell yeah. And I'd help, definitely. Because I'm going to get the game too.
We should get Poston in there, and Poston will get the claw on everybody.
That's my finishing move of choice. The Iron Claw.
So, by the way, Poston, I told the wrestling show about that idea about doing the Superman punch with the claw, and they were like, "Holy shit, dude! We never heard of that. Do it."
Yeah, that would be a 1-2 combo from hell.
Oh, as for my character, I want the old school Roman Reigns before this tribal chief BS.
You don't like the tribal chief Roman Reigns?
No.
Oh, geez, well.
It's too much. I did like the fact
what's weird though? Dashy's probably going around now with his little Cincinnati Bengal outfit going, "Acknowledge me. My team finally won something."
Well, if they run into the Chiefs, then I I'm going to be bad news Barrett. I'm afraid I got some bad news for you because, yeah, you giving up 16 yards of carry to Deontay Foreman. That's going to be pretty ugly if y'all have to play the Chiefs.
Well, here's something for you. One of the things he told me was he said to me yesterday, and I think you saw the post, Shelby, because you're in the Facebook chat. But he goes up to me last night, and goes, "Your team's gonna lose because you were talking bad about our chili." I'm like, "I'm sorry." Like, our magazine, our national scene magazine's making fun of your chili, and now we're gonna get a curse. Is that what you're trying to say?
What is it?
That chili is pretty much kind of like if you ever ate a Steak and Shake. I don't know if they have a Steak and Shake there or not, but
yeah, we do.
It's kind of like when you order those chili with the little with the spaghetti noodles. It's kind of like that.
Okay.
What the fuck?
Well, here's something I got for Dashy. If he has to play Kansas City.
Oh, it's pretty much like a chili dog with all the toppings if you add cheese to it too.
Oh, okay. So it's just a chili dog then.
Pretty much.
Oh, okay. I can live with that then.
Well,
so he pretty much tried to do a bet with me, saying, "Well, if the Titans lose, I would eat some hot chicken." I'm like, "Boy, if you come to Nashville, I will take you to Hattie B's, and you will be begging me to give you a piece of bread." I'd watch you drop.
Well, about that bad news, I will say it like Wade Barrett. If the Bengals have to verse the Chiefs, then I'm afraid I got some bad news for you.
Yeah, because there's no way they're going to beat the Chiefs. However, if the Bills end up upsetting the Chiefs, then I can see the Bengals making the Super Bowl. If it's the Bengals and the Rams, I'm going to be hellified close from my beginning of the year prediction of the Rams and the Browns. But it looks like the Bengals have taken the Browns roll up, so I would be like pretty close. But I think that if it's the Bengals and the Rams, I'd probably have to say that the Rams would be the safest bet.
Now, the Browns shocked me this year because I thought for sure the NFL was going to shove the Browns down our throat like they did last year.
That's what I was thinking. I thought that they were going to take that next step with Cleveland this year. So that's why I was like, okay, well, they had Myles Garrett, of course, and then they added Jadeveon Clowney, and I said, well, hell, this defense. And then they were handed Greedy Williams and various other really strong secondary players. And they had the running back that I fucking wanted, which was Nick Chubbs. Because I wanted Nick Chubbs over Zeke. And the reason why is I wanted defense that draft. I thought Zeke was kind of a reach. And I thought we could have traded back, got some more picks, still picked up like a really solid defensive end. And then got a running back like Dalvin Cook and Nick Chubbs were two that I was looking at, particularly in their college days. And I'm like, well, I can put off getting a running back for a year and then get some defensive help. But they ended up picking Zeke. I think that they should have went with Romo for another year and then let Dak, learn behind Romo. But they showed Romo the door immediately. And like a lot of the stuff that Dallas has done, I would have done differently. A lot of their drafts, I would have done differently. But that's one of the reasons why Cincinnati was my dark horse coming in this year, is because there was a center that they ended up getting, and of course they got the guy from Texas. The Texas did have a pretty solid defense, and they ended up getting the guy from Texas that I was hoping Dallas could land in the later rounds. But we ended up doing good this draft. Don't get me wrong. Last year, Tyler Spence and them guys on Boys Will Be Boys wanted to crucify me. But I turned out to be right. I said that we were going to be trash last year, and we were pretty much trash last year. It would have been worse if they would have kept running with Dak. But, Dak ended up getting hurt that, game against the Giants, and we ended up winning a couple of more. But the reason why is because it's all pass heavy. I'm not a big fan of McCarthy. I wasn't a big fan when they bought him in. like I said, I believe in a more balanced attack, like a guy like Belichick. That's probably another reason why. I mean, I've always liked the Patriots since '90, just because they were a sucky team back then, and I ended up liking them just because nobody else liked them. I ended up getting merch for the Patriots because they were just nobody even knew the Patriots. I mean, it wasn't like the Vikings or the Browns or the Cardinals at the time that were just so horrible. I mean, the Patriots were just had no identity whatsoever. So I just started pulling for them because they were like my underdog team. But, even whenever they started winning, I just kept going with it. And I think that a lot of the reasons is because Belichick has kind of got the same approach to football as I do. It's run the ball, you know what I'm saying? Have a competent quarterback that can keep the defense honest, and then have a strong defense. And that's one thing whenever the Patriots are winning, that's what they rely on. Is their running game and their defense. Yeah, you got Tom Brady in there, and Tom Brady is a good quarterback. But even Tom Brady went to Tampa Bay. What did they do? They ended up shoring up that defense. They bring in Leonard Fournette and some competent running game, and Tom Brady knows the formula for success now. So,
to be honest with you, even if, say, for example, I don't know how you guys feel about this, but if Cincinnati was to squeak by and get into the Super Bowl, the Titans defense showed that the offensive line of Cincinnati sucks. So if they went up against someone like the Rams or Tampa, both teams are going to have a field day with Joe Burrow. I hate to tell them that.
Yeah, especially the Rams. I look at the Rams, and on paper, I've liked the Rams for a while now because of their defense. I mean, I sure as fuck wasn't gonna, like their chances with Jared Goff, but they had a good defense. And then they got Stafford, and I'm like, well, Stafford will be able to. But now it's like the only issue is like their running game wasn't as good as it was under Goff. It's like their running game kind of fell off a little bit. But I mean, I think it's still good enough to hold them in games and whatnot. I think that they can still compete. That's why I think that the Tennessee Titans really should have won this game if they would have. Like I said, if Devontae Foreman gets 6 more carries, if he gets an even 10, he could have probably went close to 200 yards on Cincinnati.
Well, I said that if the Titans were to get beat, which they did, then I said that it was going to be an NFC team winning the Super Bowl this year. Because the AFC, I mean, really, outside of Kansas City and Tennessee, it sucks.
If it's Kansas City and Tampa Bay, I could see Kansas City getting their win back because they were humiliated. And like I said, it's the Alabama effect. And this is one of the reasons why I did a video a few weeks ago saying that it'll probably be Tom Brady in the Super Bowl again. Because every time it's Alabama wins the national championship, Tom Brady goes to the Super Bowl. Now, whenever he was playing for the Patriots, if Alabama won the national championship, New England lost. However, the last time that he went to the Super Bowl, Alabama won the title, and Tom Brady won the Super Bowl. So I don't know if that little plot device that they've thrown into the football mix has reversed because Alabama lost. So since Alabama lost, and if that reversed whenever he went to Tampa Bay, then theoretically Tom Brady should lose the Super Bowl. But that's according to going off of, status quo for the NCAA as it relates to the NFL. And that's just been one of the things. That's not only just me. A lot of people talk about, well, if Alabama goes, then you already know it's going to be Tom Brady in the Super Bowl. So, I mean, that's been going on for years now, I think. I think even since 2011 that's been going on. So, I don't know, but and the only caveat to that was whenever Ohio State beat Oregon. But Alabama did make the playoffs, and they did lose to the national champions. And Tom Brady did go to the Super Bowl and win it, and I think that was the year that he beat Seattle. That was the year they beat Seattle. But yeah,
By the way, Paulson, if you ever go into one of Duke's streams again while Camel Toes is on there, if you say this to him, this will piss him off more than anything. If you tell him to suck a fart, he will, because he's used to telling other people that. So if you use it against him, it's going to piss him off.
okay. Well, I think I did a pretty good job by telling him the NFL was fake.
Oh my god! I went back and watched that video. He was getting like beat ass red.
Did he make a video about it?
No. I was just watching Duke stream, and I could see him going like.
Oh yeah, he was. He was not happy with me. But like I said, yeah, I sub to Duke and I follow Duke, and yeah, as far as I'm concerned, buddy, yeah. I mean, I would try to watch the NFL, but I've tried, but whenever I watch it, I just roll my eyes, and I could say, okay, well, I already know how this game's going to turn out by the first quarter, and I'm like, okay, I'll watch something else.
Well, I'm going to have to end the stream here, but I think Shelby and I think the Prodigal Hill for coming in. Yeah, the Bengals won 19-16, and yeah, I will give congratulations to Cincinnati, but I will tell you guys this. You guys got 2 playoff games. You barely beat the Raiders. You really shouldn't have beat us. And now you got to wait tomorrow to see who you face between Buffalo and Kansas City, and you better pray that Buffalo wins.
Yeah, you better really pray.
You better really pray that Buffalo wins, because if you don't, and I know what Cincinnati fans are going to be like, yeah, well, we beat Kansas City in the regular season. Regular season don't mean shit.
Yeah, you'll see what I'm talking about. Yeah, fucking is that what's that running back's name in Kansas City? Claire, what is it? I can't. The weird name.
Yeah, I can't pronounce his name.
Yeah, it's like Maurice Claire or something. Yeah. If and I'm not saying that he's better than or worse than Devontae Foreman, but if that running back gets 16 yards to carry on you like Devontae Foreman did, you can trust Pat Mahomes to get that ball in the end zone. And yeah, you're gonna have to that if they do to you like Tennessee did, y'all don't have a snowballs. I'm just gonna put it out there right now.
Yeah, well, that would be it. Yeah, the Bengals won 19-16. We're going to go into it. I'll go into a video eventually talking about what the Titans should do during the offseason. I know a lot of people are saying that we should get rid of Ryan Tannehill, but the problem is if we get rid of Ryan Tannehill, that's $57 million against the cap. So I'm not saying get rid of him just yet, but we do need to find somebody that can replace him.
Malik Willis, I'm going to say it right now. Get him in the second round. Let him sit, learn the playbook, get familiar with the offense, and then keep Tannehill, run with Tannehill for the next year or two or however long his contract is, and then just groom Malik Willis, and then eventually give him the keys to the car. I think his best fit is in Tennessee.
If I'm Ryan Tannehill, if I'm leaving Nissan Stadium tonight, I would leave with an escort. That's all I have to say.
And hope those don't get intercepted too.
Yeah, that's true. Well, it was Big Kev here with Shelbygaming in the Prodigal Hill. We just talked about all different kind of things, but like, share, sub. Remember, I'm Big Kev. This is Big Kev's world. You're just living in it.